people who fantasized a city or country, like NYC or Japan, and then actually took a leap of faith to move there. How has your opinion changed since?
For years before ending up in France, and for some reason this country is really hard, not just for me but every expat, immigrant I know. I think a big reason is we Anglo-Saxons tend to glamorize France before coming here. Free healthcare, paid vacation, good wine, etc. On the other hand, we don't expect the culture to be as different as it is, so we get double culture shock when we realize the system we glamorized is not that great and complicated as fuck, and the culture is not only incredibly different but also very conformist and difficult to integrate into. Add on the language issues, though friends who arrived with fluent French still had difficult time settling in, low salaries, a reserved and chronically depressed population, the spirit of criticism, direct negative feedback, and combative communication. And it's no wonder the expats have a hard time adjusting. It's also incredibly hard to make French friends. The French meet their friends for life by the time they are 5, and most social circles are not accepting new applications. If you do make a friend, it will take years to develop the relationship into someone who can be considered a real friend. In short, France is exhausting and disappointing. If this post sounds negative, it's just because I am finally integrating.
I'm French and I read your comment to my French boyfriend to talk about it. We agree, we, as in, French people, are negative. We criticize a lot. I said I don't know why. My BF thinks it's because we were too proud, because at once in history we used to be kings of the world, and we're not anymore, and we have to face it and accept it. As for the language, I personally love strangers and other languages, but yeah, French people are jerks and make no effort when someone doesn't speak French, and we're so bad at school with foreign languages. Concerning combative communication, I'm really curious, if you could elaborate. I don't see what you mean. Funny enough, my BF is from the southwest. Think Toulouse. I'm purposely not too precise, and I'm from Ile-de-France, not Paris, but I lived my whole life in the region, and he said that he feels the same as you for the Parisian region, but it's not like that everywhere. Edit, I forgot. We don't really agree for the friends. We make friends like everyone throughout life, a bit in primary school. Sometimes you keep them, sometimes not, then middle school, then high school, then college, then work. Some long-term friendships are not as meaningful as new friendships based on more sincere compatibility other than spending time together.
Not a different country, but for me it was Honolulu, Hawaii. I went there a lot in high school and romanticized the heck out of it. I thought it was the most magical place in the world because of the amazing weather and beaches. I'm from Wisconsin. I decided to go to college there to study marine biology. Freshman year was the hardest year of my life. I realized Hawaii was just like any other place and wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Now I'm a senior and I've stopped putting Hawaii on a pedestal, which actually made it easier to live there. I found a great group of friends and now I'm glad I took that leap of faith.
There's a joke about someone dying and being able to be in heaven and in hell for one day so he could choose where to go, and heaven was boring as fuck and hell was a 24/7 hookers and blow non-stop party. So the next day he goes back to St. Peter and says, nah, I'm going to stay in hell, and when he goes back down with the devil it's all torture and sulfur and fire and brimstone, and he goes to the devil and says, what the fuck, where are the hookers and blow, the DJ and pools? And the devil responds, well, that's the difference between being a tourist and being an immigrant. Hawaii, it is absolutely gorgeous. Had land there and moved to care for it during the downturn. The tourist thing wears off though, and although it is still an absolutely gorgeous place, the cost of living, the corruption in government, and seemingly like every contractor is trying to rip you off spoiled it for me as a long-term relo.
Everybody in LA thinks they're the next big thing. There are a lot of really misplaced egos. I lived in West Hollywood for years. After 6 years I had never learned my across the whole neighbor's name. Saw her nearly every day and literally no conversation. Getting out of the city proper is better, but still has its issues. It's ungodly hot in some areas, beaches are insanely expensive, and mountains are very isolated. But you can go skiing and surfing in the same day, which is crazy. Edit. And the celebrity thing is weird. Everyone goes through that situation where you're like, I know this person, I know them from somewhere. Did I go to school with them? No. Did we work together? No. Are they in my building? No. They're on a major sitcom every Thursday night at 8 p.m. on Channel 4, and that's why they look so familiar.
I was obsessed with Japan when I was in high school, and my mum sent me there for an exchange year. At the time Japan was known as a country with advanced technology, and I had read that the taxis had doors that opened for the passenger. I thought it would be something like the Back to the Future Tesla Model X doors. The biggest disappointment was that it was just a lever the driver pulls and it's an ordinary car. I had also read up a lot about a culture of perfection where even stray leaves were removed from gardens, meals were perfectly balanced to the seasons, People were modest and crime was low. As a 16-year-old schoolgirl, I was molested twice walking home. My wallet was stolen. My host family preferred eating McDonald's. They had televisions running in every room of their house every waking hour, and I was made fun of for reading books. I was supposed to be there for a year but was so homesick I left 3 months early. To be fair, a lot of it was because of my host family. We were pretty poorly matched. I later went to work in Hokkaido when I finished uni and had a great time there, as the people are a lot more relaxed. I also really liked my school and particularly my tea ceremony teacher, who was an amazingly talented and kind lady. I now work for a Japanese company and my colleagues and boss are great.
That whole sexualizing teenage girls was very weird and not really fathomable for me, especially when during a university festival girls dressed in sailor uniforms were photographed, willingly, cause they were posing, by middle-aged men. Also guys my age seemed to prefer cute childlike girls than good-looking women.
I loathed it. My school uniform was the sailor one, and on the train to school men would be openly reading schoolgirl porn with them wearing the same uniform as me. They would read their porn and gawk at me, and it felt very deliberate and sleazy. I had one old man come up to me and offer me a wad of cash to have coffee with him. I pretended I couldn't understand Japanese and he followed me around trying to give me money. Pretty much all my classmates had been molested on the trains and were expected to just put up with it.
Yes, when I was younger and taking the subway in NYC in the 1980s and 1990s, I had guys rub up against me on crowded trains. If you don't say anything, they keep doing it. If you make a scene, they deny it, and people look at you like you're the freak instead of the asshole rubbing up on people in public. I found the most effective way to deal with it was to act like it was an accident and then accidentally elbow them or step on their foot, followed instantly by an apology in a sickly sweet voice. Sorry about that, this train is so crowded, with a smile on my face, but a look in my eyes that trying to do that again to me again would not be wise. I was fortunate that it stopped them. A few even moved away from me if they could. I suppose this could have backfired by escalating things, but it worked for me, though, given enough room. My first choice would be to move away from the guy versus having to engage at all.
It was Finland for me. Rather weird country to obsess about, but I started learning the language in high school and fell in love with the culture. Went the foreign exchange and was shocked at how close to paradise it was. Beautiful nature, friendly and helpful people, good quality food and more humane pace of life. It helped that I lived with a wonderful host family in a small town. The people you meet are a huge part of your experience in a place. Best part was getting to learn more Finnish. TLDR, Finland was exactly what I fantasized it would be.
5 minutes in and so far I've learned Portland sucks, NYC sucks, Tokyo sucks, Seattle sucks, Melbourne awesome.
You watched till the end? We are honored. You made Moogly very happy, thank you. Subscribe to make Moogly happy every day.